am Jordan Banderas, also known as the Bad Influence. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. Recently, a question came to my mind. Who do you think is your biggest bully? Is it your life in general? Is it your friends, your family, your work, your coworkers, your kids, your spouse? Do any of those sound familiar? After thinking about the answer, I realized a lot of things about my life. And on today's episode, I want to share the answer, which I believe is a good answer in regards to this particular question. In my opinion, the answer is you. You are your biggest bully. And you may say, oh, how come? I love myself, whatever. I don't know. I believe in myself, whatever. But here's the reason why you're the biggest bully. Because we all have this little tiny, whiny, little bitch-ass boys that for some reason we have built throughout our lives. We have literally created this voice that is so negative that anytime you try to do something, it literally is there in your head telling you, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not good looking. You know what I'm talking about? The problem is that this particular voice is something that we created. We created that voice. Based on our experiences, of course, but we created it. The problem, and another problem that I see with this, is that we need to figure out when we created that voice and why. Like, what happened that made us create that little voice that tells us that we can't do things that we want to do? So when I asked myself this question, I actually was able to come up with the answer, which is what I want to talk about today. Because for me, at least, this particular voice started when I was around 10 years old. And the reason why that started is because when I was like 9.5, my uncle, he was all like, oh, when you turn 10 years old, I'm going to give you a computer as a gift. Now, me being a nerd, I have always been a nerd. I like technology, right? So I always wanted a computer. Even though we might have not have been able to afford the internet, I still wanted a computer. I didn't realize about the price of internet back then or anything like that because I was little. I was like 9, So I didn't really thought about that. So I wanted a computer. My uncle said that he was going to give me a computer as a gift. So I was super excited. I waited for, like I said, around like 6 months. So by the time that it was time to pay up on January, the January 27th to be exact, the day of my birthday, I was like, okay, where's my computer? Because I have been waiting for it, I was so fucking excited. And what he did was the main reason why that voice was created in my head that was so negative, because he's like, oh, wait, you didn't do good in school. Even though he didn't say anything that in regards that my gift was contingent in regards with my grades, he said that. He's like, oh, well, you didn't do good enough in school. You don't deserve the computer because you're not good enough. You could have done better. Now, imagine how that felt, being told that the day of your birthday, the day that you're supposed to be celebrated for being born. That special day for a lot of people, for me, it was the opposite. Because it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Like I wasn't going to be good at anything, especially being born. you know? So that's when, for me, this particular negative little bitch ass voice started. The problem with this particular voice, and is that, and this is something that I just realized as well, is that this voice gets stronger based on our experiences. So when this voice started in my head, there's been multiple negative experiences that I had encountered throughout my life where I felt like I wasn't going to be good enough. I felt like I was not good looking and things like that. So I didn't do things that I wanted to do because of this. So that voice was so strong. And that's one of the reasons why people don't stand up to yourself. In this case, we don't stand up to ourselves because that voice gets so strong that we believe it to be true. But in reality, we can actually change that voice. But a lot of people don't think that we can do that. But guess what? You can. You can do something about this bitch ass voice that tells you that you can't do things, but it's going to be hard. And I'm going to tell you why I did, because if I was able to do something about it, I'm pretty damn fucking sure that you can as well. The only thing I'm going to tell you as well is that it's hard because you have to go through a journey. Literally, it's like you're going to fight the champion for the belt. You have to go on a journey to build mental strength, because what you have to do in this fucking situation is that you actually have to stand up to yourself. Anytime that voice tells you you can't do something, you have to literally say, no. Yes, I can. I'm a learner. I'm good looking. I'm this, I'm that. I can do it. Just you watch me. And you have to prove to yourself that you can do it. You literally have to say to yourself, even though I feel like I can't do it, I know I can do it. I know it's hard to kind of understand, but that's pretty much what I had to do. I literally had to brainwash myself into believing that I could do things instead of just believing that I can't do things. And that's the hardest part. That's why you have to go on this journey that is so fucking hard to build that mental resilience and to build that mental strength, because that's what you need in order for you to stand up to yourself. Because in the end, that voice, that negative voice, it's something that we created, like I mentioned. It all depends on when that happened, which even if you go into this journey to understand why that happened and when that started, if you're not able to figure out why that happened or when that happened, that's okay. All you need to do is pretty much to learn how to stand up to yourself and shut that voice down. That's what you need to do. So you can actually do what I'm talking about, even though you may never understand or find the situation that caused this to happen. So that's fine. But anyway, one of the things that I actually started doing, and you will have to do something similar, is to literally do hard things in order for you to be able to stand up to this voice, because you have to prove to yourself that you can do it. And the only way that you can actually do that is by actually doing hard things. There's some of the things that I do, obviously, like I have mentioned before on previous episodes. I started taking cold showers. Now that's fucking hard. I started between 10 and 15 seconds per day. That's how I started. You can actually do that as well, because it's fucking hard. 15 seconds inside a cold shower, when that cold water hits your body, you want to run, but it's harder to just say like, no, don't run, stay here. That's what builds mental resilience, because you're taking something that makes people run and you say, I'm in control. I can actually endure this. So that will help you stand up to yourself. Another thing that I do is that I wake up earlier than probably a lot of people. I wake up at 3 a.m. every single fucking day so I can start working on the podcast, so I can start rehearsing, doing hard things, walk the dogs, take care of my wife. So I wake up early. And you can actually start doing that as well, because if you're used to waking up late during the day, like you go to bed until like 2 a.m. and wake up at noon or 2 p.m., instead of doing that, start waking up early, like pushing yourself. That's actually going to help. So you have to do things like that. You have to do things even when you're tired, even when you're exhausted, even when you don't want to do them. Because when you don't do the hard things, you start creating this comfort zone as well. That is like, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it on another day. Like, I'm good right now. That's the comfort zone. And you need to get out of that. You need to get out of that, and it doesn't matter how you start, as long as you start moving so you can actually get out of that comfort zone. Because when you start doing things that are hard for you, not for anybody else, not for me, but for you. These are things that you have to do for yourself. Like you can start running just for 5 minutes. You can start running just down the street and then come back to your house. You don't have to run a marathon. You can start small, because at the beginning it's going to feel so fucking hard. And that's why people quit, because you set a big ass goal. Let's say you want to run a mile, but then you run from, let's say, your house to down the street. You get tired. You're like, okay, this isn't for me. And then you quit. No, you run from your house down the street and back. And that's how you start. And then you keep increasing the distance little by little until you get to that mile. That's how you do it. That's what you need to do. That's what I did, actually. So if I can do it, why can't you? That's a good question too for today's episode. That's a good question. So one of the things that's going to happen when you start doing this, when you start doing the hard things, is that you will be feeling so good about yourself, because you're like, you know what? I can do this. I haven't run or I haven't done anything like this in years, and I was able to just do exactly that. So you start feeling so good about yourself. You look at yourself in the fucking mirror and say like, damn, that person is somebody that pushes him or herself out of the comfort zone. So when you start doing something else, or when you want to go when you want to go after something you actually want, and that little bitch ass voice that tells you can't do it starts popping up, starts creeping up on you and says, hey, remember, you can't do this. You're a loser. You're this, you're whatever. You can say like, hold on. I know I can do it, because I just did some hard shit that I haven't done in a long time, and I feel good about it. There's going to be all that the oxytocin that gets you all excited, that makes you feel good. There's going to be all these brain chemicals that are going to be released when you do the hard shit and you feel good about it, that you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to push myself even harder next time. And when you do that, you will be able to stand up to yourself. And that little bitch ass voice that tells you can't do shit is going to start to disappear. It's going to start to getting smaller, and quieter until it goes away. Because that's what happened to me. And you won't be able to do that until you're able to do the hard things in your life. I know that sounds repetitive, but I want to drill it into your head, because that's what I had to do for me. I had to drill it. I had to listen so many times to the same motivational speech that says, get out of your comfort zone. Like, I was listening to that pretty much 24/7 until it hit. Until I was like, you know what? I need to get out of my comfort zone so I can actually do some hard shit. That's pretty much what happened. And I want to drill it into your head, because that's what you need to do. And what's funny is that when you start doing this, and that little voice that is so fucking negative goes away, it's going to be replaced by a different kind of voice. Because that's, again, what happened to me. It still is my voice. I can hear it clearly. It's my voice. It's nobody else's voice. It's not based on what happened in the past. It's based on what I'm doing right now in the present. This particular voice tells me you can do things. You can quit because of this. This little voice keeps me going. It motivates me. It lifts me up. It tells me you got that. You fell down, then get the fuck back up. That's the kind of motivation that I need. That little bitch, that little voice, now tells me why I started. That voice now tells me why I can't give up. Now that voice is so strong and so motivating that I know I can do the hard shit. But it all started when I started doing the hard shit. And a lot of people right now want that voice, that negative voice, to change into a positive one, into like the uplifting one, the one that tells you you can go and do it. But they want to do that. They want that to happen without the hard work. You can't do that without the hard work. I've been working on myself for 6 years, and it took me 36 years to realize this. That you can actually change that negative voice into a positive voice by doing the hard work, by learning something, by pushing yourself to learn something, by pushing yourself to do the hard stuff, by literally telling yourself like, yes, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, the bed feels so fucking nice right now, but I must do this. And there's a reason behind I must do this. So that's why until you do something like this, nothing will change. And this doesn't mean nothing will change at all. It's just nothing will change until you decide to change. Because sitting in the couch, sitting watching TV is not going to help you change. One of the bad things that you have to do as well, or I don't know if you see it as bad or whatever, especially if you like TV, if you're like me, where you like to watch TV, you have to turn off the TV. And instead of doing that, people just like to watch TV and not do anything hard. We come from work and we just want to relax. Well, that's easy. The hard part is coming from work and work on what we actually want to do. That's fucking hard. But nothing will happen until you start believing in yourself. And that won't happen until you start doing the hard stuff. Until you start literally not procrastinating anymore. Until you start literally saying like, you know what? Fuck being comfortable. I need to do this so I can actually become better. I need to do this so I can actually make more money. I need to learn this so I can actually start my own business. I need to do this so I can actually provide for my family and I don't have to rely on a job that may fire me as soon as they start having economic problems. That's what you need to do. And that's how you get rid of that voice. And I'm just going to put this out there. You can start right now. It doesn't matter how you start, like I said before, as long as you start. Take that one fucking step and start changing your life. Don't procrastinate. Don't be like me. It took me way too long to get to this point finally. And I don't want you to go through that because it's fucking hard. So stop procrastinating and start doing. So when you hear that fucking voice that tells you you can't, you say, fuck you, because I can. And that's what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The link is in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. Don't let that whiny little bitch ass voice win. You are stronger than you think. Stand up to it because you will succeed. And have a great day.